Today I'm going to continue teaching on the Medicine Buddha practice. And where I finished up with the last teaching was we had our visualization, ourself as Medicine Buddha, and the front visualization of the Medicine Buddha mandala. We invited the wisdom deities. They came and then they dissolved into us, and we became inseparable from the actual wisdom deities, again in the form of Medicine Buddha. So then, to continue, the text goes hung, menla chege, and so forth. The English translation is, I invite the 8 Menla brothers and all their teachers without exception. Please rain down great splendor, bestow supreme empowerment upon me, who am worthy and faithful. So we are making 4 requests here. We are first inviting them, requesting that they come with all the deities of the mandala. We are asking them to bless us. That's what bestow or rain down great splendor means, is blessing. And then we request that they bestow empowerment on us. And then finally, the last is to dispel obstacles to this life, which would include, of course, illness and obstacles to practice, such as false guides. So then we have a mantra here in Sanskrit. It is Namo Mahabhegansi Saparivara Benza Samaya Dza. Now, the first part about that, of that mantra, Namo Mahabhegansi, Namo is honor. Then great king of medicine. And then this also means, together with your retinue, Benza Samadza is the unchanging Samaya commitment. And that Samaya commitment is the commitment to liberate all sentient beings. And so we're reminding them to remember this and, of course, keep it in mind and act on it. Quote, you must come here and bless me because you have committed yourself to do so, unquote. That is, or end quote, that is from Thrangu Rinpoche's book, Medicine Buddha Teachings, on page 39. So then there's some music, and following that, there is mantra. Benza Samaya Triktalen. And this means, through the power of your unchanging commitment to the welfare and liberation of beings, please dissolve inseparably into me and remain within this, within stably and permanently. So actually, I made a slight mistake when I began, that this having the Yeshepas dissolve into the Damsikpas happens at this point, not before the music, not before we make this request that they come. So this is the point then that the Yeshepas and the entire mandala for the front visualization dissolve into their respective counterpart. Now, this idea of Damsikpa and Yeshepa, this is the Tibetan names. This is common in lots and lots of deity practices. In some where there is a short version of it, you might not have this, like the Chenrezig practice that we do once a month here. You do not have this happen. But in more elaborate or lengthy, maybe is a better word for it, lengthier practices where there is time and room to have more things into it, you have this first generating a visualization, which is not the actual deity, but the visualization resembles the actual deity. And that visualization is called the Damsikpa, or the Samaya Sattva is a Sanskrit word. And then there are the wisdom deities, which is a Yeshepa. The Sanskrit is Jnana Sattva. These are the actual deities. And so what we do then is in our form of the Damsikpa, we invite the wisdom deities from their pure lands, and then they come and they dissolve into us and become inseparable from us. So this is a standard practice. It's good to keep this in mind. The more you understand about this medicine Buddha practice, the more you will see how other Vajrayana practices that we do are very, very similar. You might say, follow the same template. The empowerment comes with the mantra Om Hung Tram Kri A Abhikensa Hung. So that then is the fulfillment of this request for empowerment. Now, the next is going to be a bathing of the deities. So from the self in the front visualization, there are 3 syllables, Om Ah Hung, a white Om in the forehead, a red Ah in the throat, and a blue Hung in the heart. And when you are visualizing Medicine Buddha, when he has his mantra garland in his heart with a Hung in the center, that blue Hung suffices. You don't need to have a second blue Hung in his heart center. In this case, it's not necessary to have that mantra garland and the blue Hung in the center of it visualized. That'll come a little bit later. So anyway, the light radiates from these 3 syllables, and it goes to the pure realms of the 5 Buddha families. And we're inviting the heads of these Buddha families to come with their consorts. They're female Buddhas, along with their retinue. And they come and they have vases full of, one word would be amrita. Ambrosia is the word that is translated in Thrangu Rinpoche's book, but it's the ambrosia of wisdom. The Tibetan is dutse for ambrosia, and it's Yeshe dutse. So it is the ambrosia of pure primordial wisdom, and it purifies everything. And so what we have in these syllables that I just mentioned, each one refers to one of the heads of the Buddha families. So Om is Vairochana, Hung is Akshobhya, Tram is Ratnasambhava, Hri is Amitabha, A is Amoga Siddhi. So all 5 of these Buddhas are pouring nectar through vases through the top of your head, this wisdom nectar, or ambrosia, or amrita. The same thing is happening with the front visualization. So this wisdom nectar, ambrosia, is so strong that it purifies everything and anything. It purifies all wrongdoing, obscurations, defilements of body, speech, and mind. There's nothing that is able to, you might say, not succumb to being purified. There are mudras for each of these 5 syllables. Maybe soon I will be able to teach them, because they're done up at the head level. So now what we do is we make offerings. It starts Hung Metok Dukpo. The translation is, I offer the deity flowers, incense, lamps, scents, forms, smells, taste, touch, in all things. We complete the 2 accumulations. That probably means, may we complete the 2 accumulations. So the front visualization is a field of merit for us to accumulate merit. The offerings to the front visualization are made by visualized offering goddesses that are radiating from the syllables in your heart as medicine Buddha. And so these offerings are the 8, what I call standard offerings. Argam is drinking water, and it's offered by offering goddesses to the mouths of the deity. Padyam is washing water, and this is offered by deities, offering goddesses that bathe the feet of the deities. Pupe is flowers, and those are offered to the deity's eyes. Dupe is incense, and that is offered to their nose, of course. Aloke is lamps, and that is offering to their eyes. Gende is perfume, and that is offered to their whole body. Nuade is food, and that is offered to their mouths. And then Shabda is music, that is offered to their ears. Next come another set of offerings. Rupa is form. Shabda is sound or music. It's the same word that was just used in the 8 offerings. Gende is smell. Rasa is taste. Saparche is tactile sensations. Pratitsa means individually to each one. So these 5 offerings are to the 5 senses. And they mean whatever is pleasant or beautiful that can be experienced by those 5 senses. So these are outer offerings, and they represent whatever is beautiful and pleasant in the outer world. So then we make the offerings, the aspiration, may we complete the 2 accumulations. And the 2 accumulations are the accumulation of merit and the accumulation of wisdom. So merit is accumulated when we are aware that we are making an offering, that there is an enlightened being receiving the offering, and that we are the being making the offering, even if it is visualizing ourselves as medicine Buddha. That accumulates merit. And this goes to the kind of the heart of what merit is. Merit is conceptual. And having this idea of an actor, an action, and then a recipient, that's all conceptual. When these are not present, that is when we accumulate wisdom. This is when it's done with the recognition of emptiness, of no self. So these are outer offerings. Next, there is music. And then after the music, it begins Hung Tashi Sowo. This is the offering of the 8 precious substances. I offer the deity the foremost auspiciousness, the 8 substances such as the foremost royal one, the white mustard seed. May we complete the accumulations. So auspicious can have a lot of different meanings. I'm using it here to mean having favorable circumstances and showing signs of favorable outcomes, specifically in terms of what our aspirations are for all beings and for ourselves. So here are the auspicious objects, or substances rather. The first is a right turning conch. That one was offered to the Buddha 49 days after he attained enlightenment. And the request was made for the Buddha to teach upon the offering being made. So thanks to this offering and request, we have teachings of the Buddha present. The second is yogurt. And yogurt was offered to the Buddha by a woman by the name of Lekshe when he was practicing extreme asceticism. And he decided that if he continued to practice asceticism, that he would die and there would be no benefit that he would leave behind. And he decided that it was better for him to eat and then practice in a different direction. And Lekshe came at this very moment and offered him some food to eat, which was yogurt. And this broke his fast. And Thrangu Rinpoche says that upon finishing the yogurt, his body became resplendent. The third is durva grass. And this was offered to him by a man named Tashi. These are Tibetan names, by the way. These are not Indian names. And again, Tashi means auspicious. So he made a mat of durva grass and sat on it until he attained enlightenment. The fourth is vermilion. When the Buddha was attaining enlightenment, Mara appeared to him. And of course, trying to get him to succumb to ego. So the Buddha was challenged by Mara, how do I know you're enlightened? And so what the Buddha did was he touched the ground and said, the earth is my witness. An earth goddess appeared and offered him vermilion. And she said that she witnessed him attaining enlightenment. The next is bilva fruit. Well, he was still living at the palace. The Buddha had gone out 4 different times in the 4 directions and observed these 4 types of suffering of birth, old age, sickness, and death. He left the palace and developed a perfect samadhi. To recognize that accomplishment, the goddess of the tree offered him bilva fruit in recognition of this. The mirror is the next one. So after eating the yogurt that I mentioned previously, his body became so splendid that the goddess of form appeared and offered him a mirror so that he could see for himself. The next is givam. This is a medical substance derived from some part of the body of an elephant. This is a recognition of the time that the Buddha subdued a mad elephant. The story is that his jealous cousin, Devadatta, kept doing things to hinder the Buddha. And at one time, he succeeded in letting loose a mad elephant that went in the direction of the Buddha. And when the elephant came to the Buddha, the elephant stopped and knelt down to the Buddha rather than, as Devadatta had wanted, to trample the Buddha. Then the last one is white mustard seed. The first month of the Tibetan calendar is called the month of miracles. And during this time of the Buddha's life, there was a debate that was set up for 6 prominent non-Buddhist teachers to debate and hopefully discredit the Buddha. And this went on for 7 days. And then on the 8th day, the Buddha started displaying miracles. So the 8th day, Vajrapani emerged from the throne that the Buddha was sitting on, offered the Buddha white mustard seed, and then proceeded to chase away the 6 non-Buddhist teachers. He was able to do this because he brought with him some very powerful and wrathful worldly protectors. After that, the Buddha continued to exhibit miracles for another 7 days. So this whole month then is called the month of miracles. And also, this is a very good time to practice because your merit is increased by 100,000 times during that time. And I always try to schedule Nyungne during that month of miracles, which is the first month of the Tibetan New Year. So after the offerings are made, then the mantra Mangalam Artha Siddhe is said. And Mangalam means auspiciousness, and Atra Siddhe means accomplishment. So this is the accomplishment of auspiciousness. Okay, going on to the next section here. This is offering the 8 auspicious symbols. It begins Tashi Sowo. So the translation is, I offer the deity the foremost auspiciousness. The 8 symbols, such as the foremost royal one, the vase, may all sentient beings complete the 2 accumulations. So the 8 symbols represent the Buddha's body. So the round shape of the parasol is the shape of the Buddha's head. The second symbol is the auspicious fish, and this represents the shape of the Buddha's eyes when he is in meditation. The auspicious vase resembles the shape of the Buddha's throat. Then the auspicious conch is related to the Buddha's speech. That conch has a clear, resounding sound to it. It carries for a very long distance. And the Buddha's speech was like that it was clear and resounding. If you were sitting close, it was not too loud, but if you were far away, you could still hear it. And this is in the day before they had audio systems, needless to say. So then there is the victory banner. And this is related to the shape and beautiful proportion of the Buddha's body. The next is a glorious knot, which represents the Buddha's heart or his mind. He knows everything completely and clearly without limitations. And this knot is sometimes called the knot of eternity or the endless knot. The lotus flower is the 7th one, and that represents the Buddha's tongue. It is supple and fine and allowed him to speak clearly and enunciate perfectly. The last one is the auspicious wheel, and the wheel represents turning of the wheel of Dharma. giving teachings. The sign of a wheel is found on the soles of the feet of a Buddha. Sometimes in their Tanka paintings and their sculptured, the rupas, they will have this wheel on the soles of the feet of the Buddha. So these are symbols that bring auspiciousness, and as a result, you'll find them in monasteries, you'll find them in homes, you'll find them in lots and lots of different places. So then we dedicate the merit of this offering of these symbols so that all sentient beings may complete the two accumulations of merit and wisdom. We also request that obstacles be averted. So then the mantra is Mangalam Kumbha. Mangalam again is auspicious. Kumbha is vase. So the auspiciousness of the vase is what that means. And Thrangu Rinpoche says that the vase is considered the foremost of the 8 symbols because it is from the Buddha's throat that the Dharma originally came from. So now we go to the next section, Hung Duyun Sawa. So this means I offer the deity the roots of desirable qualities, the 7 precious things, such as the foremost royal one, the jewel. May I complete the 2 accumulations. So in India, there is this idea of a Chakravartin, who is a monarch or a king that rules an entire world or even a universe. That they appear during the best periods of history. The outer meaning of these offerings is that these are objects that only a Chakravartin would possess. But there's also an inner meaning, which is even more important. And the inner meaning is that these correspond to the 7 limbs of the path of awakening. These are the 7 qualities that all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas possess as factors of their attaining enlightenment. So we make these offerings so that we will complete the path of accumulation of merit and the path of the accumulation of wisdom. The first of these is the precious jewel, and it represents the virtue of faith. Faith is the basis of all other qualities, that a bodhisattva must possess an abundance of faith, so they will be able to eradicate whatever needs to be eradicated and abandoned what needs to be abandoned. Without faith, very, very deep faith, that's impossible. So the second is the precious wheel. And the outer meaning of this is that this wheel would take a Chakravartin wherever he needed to go in battle so that he could be victorious. The inner meaning of this wheel is knowledge. That it is knowledge that enables one to conquer ignorance and the afflictive states of mind. Then there is the precious queen, who is the consort of the king. The queen keeps the monarch on track, it is said. That's the outer meaning. And personally, I like to explain that as being, let's forget about the queen being female and the monarch being male, that this person keeps the other person on track, keeps him from veering off course. So the inner meaning is meditative absorption, that it keeps one on track. And this is necessary for prajna, which is knowledge, to arise. The fourth is a precious minister that gives wise counsel and promotes joy. The inner meaning is the proper application of wisdom and meditative concentration, promotes joy. As you practice, you actually become happier. When you attain the first bhumi is called the joyful one, because this is when you get a glimpse of emptiness, and so much worry and stress and anxiety, you might say, melts away when you experience the first bhumi. It's only temporary at the level of the first bhumi, but as we practice, that we do tend to become more joyful and happier. The fifth is the precious horse, which again allows the monarch to go wherever he wishes quickly. And the inner meaning is diligence, joyful exertion. And this allows the bodhisattva to cultivate and practice meditative concentration and knowledge. And this brings out the increase in all positive qualities. The precious elephant is next. And this elephant is extremely peaceful and tame, as well as strong, of course. The inner meaning is that it's mindfulness which keeps our mind tranquil. And this is a mindfulness that is always aware of what is going on and what one's actions are. The seventh one is the precious general that overcomes all warfare and aggression. When this man shows up, the opponents lose the will to fight. The inner meaning of this is equanimity. It is with equanimity that the bodhisattva conquers attachment and aversion. There is no warfare as the conflicting emotions have been pacified. So these are the 7 limbs or factors of enlightenment, and offering them means to cultivate these virtues. And by cultivating them, and this means both when you're practicing medicine Buddha and when you're not practicing medicine Buddha, 24/7, so to speak. By cultivating them, you are making true offerings. Then the mantra is Mane Rena, which means precious jewel. Next is the mandala offering. It begins Hung Kungi Tsowo. So what we are doing here is making offerings to the front visualization again, so that we, the offerer, can accumulate merit and wisdom. Buddhas and bodhisattvas aren't particularly pleased when they're made, or displeased if they're not made. They don't need what you are giving them. But we do this for our own benefit. So there are offerings that are actually physically present. We've gathered them and put them on the shrine. Again, it's these 8 offerings that are standard, the 2 water offerings of drinking water and washing water, flowers, incense, light, fragrance, food, and then sound. So these are actual offerings that we make. Then there are mentally emanated offerings that are, we try to imagine clearly. Then the third type of offering is offerings that are produced through the power of aspiration. And Thrangu Rinpoche says these offerings are so vast that they're beyond comprehension. We can't comprehend them. So we just aspire to be able to offer like that. We offer the entire universe. And this offering is limitless, and it is vast beyond imagination. Because of this limitless quality, we accumulate great merit by doing it. So the text says, I offer the deity, the foremost of all, the supreme mountain. This is Mount Meru, the 4 continents, and the subcontinents. May the 2 accumulations be completed. Some of you have received instructions in the mandala practice of Nundro, and this is a short version of that. So we're basically offering Mount Meru, which is the mountain where the gods, both the full gods and the jealous gods, reside. And then the 4 continents, the 8 subcontinents, and then everything that resides on these continents and subcontinents, and then the sun and the moon, and basically everything else in the universe. The aspiration is that by doing this offering, may you and the whole world be free from sickness. And then the mantra is Om Rena Mandala Hung, which Rena Mandala is jewel mandala. And Om and Hung, Om is a prefix and Hung is a suffix. To go on then, the next section is bathing of the deities. It begins Hung Daki Dri then. With scented water, I wash the Sugata's bodies. The deity is without stain. I am creating the auspicious conditions for the purification of wrongs and obscurations. So these deities in the front mandala do not need to be purified. We are doing this for our own benefit. We're doing this to create the auspicious conditions for the removal of our own wrongdoing, our defilements, our obscurations, and so forth. So from your heart center as Medicine Buddha, you emanate rays of light. And again, on the tips of these rays are offering goddesses holding precious vases that are filled with ambrosia, or this wisdom nectar, Yeshe Dutse. They bathe the bodies of the deities in the front visualization. Sarva means all, Tathagata, Buddhas, Abhikekata, ablution or bathing, purification. Some places in the same word frequently is translated as empowerment, depending upon how it is used in the text. But here it means ablution or bathing. Then samaya is vows, and shirye is majestic. So through this offering, you increase the splendor and majesty of the deities. Well, we have bathed them. Now they need to be dried out. So hung, reka or jamdre, with soft scented white cotton, I dry the victor's body. The deity is without stain. I am creating the auspicious conditions for freedom from suffering. So visualize the offering goddesses with white cotton towels scented with perfume, and they dry the body of the deities. So again, they do not need to be purified, to be clean, to have anything removed. That we are doing this bathing because it creates the causes for drying up and removing the suffering of all beings. So then we make the aspiration that the suffering of all beings, especially suffering from sickness and mental affliction, be removed. Kaya Bishodane. And that means purification of the body. The next is offering of clothes to the deities. We've bathed them, now then we want to give them some nice clothes. Hung Naza Zayden. With beautiful saffron robes, I clothe the victor's body. This body is never cold. I am creating the auspicious conditions for the flourishing of radiance and vitality. So visualize offering goddesses going to the Medicine Buddha and the 7 other Buddhas in his retinue with saffron robes of a Buddha, a Nirmanakaya Buddha. So this would be robes that you would see of a Thangka painting of the Buddha and so forth. So everybody gets you might say, a set of clothing. They don't suffer from cold, but we're doing this so that we can create these auspicious connection and auspicious circumstances for ourselves and others in the future. So through this offering, you're establishing a basis for the flourishing of vitality and physical splendor for yourself and others. So the Sambhogakaya deities, they will have ornaments and clothing that is different from the Buddhas. And it will be what is appropriate for them. Again, if you look at a Thangka painting or a statue of these bodhisattvas, you will see that they do not wear the robes of a Buddha. Then comes the mantra, Benza, Waitra. Waitra is closed, Benza is indestructible. So we are doing all of this, the bathing, the drying, the offering, the clothes, is to remove suffering of beings. Okay, let's see. I'll go a little bit further here. The next is praises. The purpose of these stanzas of praise is to remind us of the qualities of the deities, to increase our devotion, to strengthen our desire, our longing for enlightenment, and increase our diligence. We're not chanting these to please the deities because we're doing it for these other reasons. So from our heart center, arise and light rays emanate to the front visualization. On the tips of the light rays are offering goddesses, and they sing words of praise and a beautiful melody. The first lines are to the medicine Buddha. And they state that his body is like a stainless blue jewel, radiant with blue light. This is praise to his magnificent appearance. There is praise to his ability to remove suffering, and especially sickness from all beings, and for him to be able to dry up the suffering of samsara. Next is we we talk about his retinue of 8 bodhisattvas surrounding him. And these are 8 bodhisattvas that are different from the bodhisattvas in the front visualization. Some of them are there, but not all of them. So we say praise to the 3 jewels, Hung, Kudok, Beidur. Homage and praise to the precious holder of medicine, whose body is like a mountain of lapis, who dispels the suffering of beings' sicknesses, and is surrounded by a retinue of 8 bodhisattvas. Homage and praise to the 3 jewels. So it starts with mentioning the names of the 7 Buddhas surrounding the medicine Buddha. Then the sacred Dharma, the 8th petal is, which is on the 8th petal. Then it mentions 16 bodhisattvas. And they represent the Mahayana Sangha, as they are all enlightened. Then we say praise to the 3 jewels. So the Tibetan goes Sen Lek Rin Da. To excellent name, precious morning, good gold, no misery, ocean of Dharma, Dharma mind, and Shakyamuni. to the sacred Dharma, the 16 bodhisattvas, and so forth. Homage and praise to the deities of ambrosial medicine. So these are the other deities in the front visualization. And then finally comes praise to the ordinary beings in the front visualization. Sang Adang Gyajin, to Brahma, Indra, the great kings, the 10 protectors of the directions, the 12 yaksha chiefs, together with their attendants, and the Vidyadharas and rishis of medicine, both divine and human. So this is a list of the different groups, names a few of the members of these groups. Brahma and Indra are listed separately, but they're part of the group of 10 guardians of the 10 directions. And then there are the 4 great guardian kings of the 4 directions, then the 12 yaksha chieftains and their retinue. So this group comes from the God realms of samsara. They are not enlightened, they are ordinary beings, but they have a commitment to protect and benefit the Dharma and Dharma practitioners. Vidyadharas is next, and they are a holder of knowledge and insight. An accomplished master of Vajrayana teachings. It's a term that is really not used that commonly. Chogyam Trungpa was referred to as a Vidyadhara, for instance. But I very seldom hear that term. Rishis of medicine are beings, both divine and human, who have mastered medicine. And they are primarily ordinary beings.